thousandth time. Sipping coffee and juice, reading the New York Times. Yeah. You told me I'm the only one, but now you think you've had your fun. You hope I had a good time. Goodbye, we're done. I got you inside my head, playing every moment over and over again. I thought we'd survive instead. You're a heartbreaker and I'm heartbroken. Waking up with him before the sun. We pour coffee and then read the Chicago Sun. Yeah. He tells me that I've changed his life, and now he wants me as his wife. Well, we had a good run, was fun. Goodbye. I still got you inside my head, playing every moment over and over again. I thought we'd survive instead. You're making
Hey, Captain Mymore. Savage Splendor, good to see you.
You're making heartbreakers of the heartbroken. You know, he was a good
So good to see you, Brad.
I should have warned him. I should have warned him that I'm an imposter. How does it feel siring so many monsters?
Hey, Jeremy, good to see you. If only there wasn't royalty stuff and DMCA and all that nonsense.
Inside my head, playing every moment over and over again. I thought we'd survive instead. You're a
I did.
heartbroken. I got
We'll talk about that in a minute or two.
inside my head, playing every moment over and over again. I thought we'd survive instead. You're making heartbreakers. I got you inside my head, playing every moment over and over again. I thought we'd survive instead. You're a monster. And all I am.
So apparently I've timed that ad just perfectly. Well, maybe close to perfect anyway. Oh boy. Hey, Keith, 49 months. What's really weird is I could swear that the last time I had a stream, you just pinged 48, so I'm not entirely sure. Oh, man. I'm glad that I did finally figure out what the problem was with getting the ad timer to say 30 seconds instead of half a minute, 0.5 minutes, because that was silly. Just a slight change in the command, and boom, there you go. Hey, everybody, welcome to the TTRPG Theater. I am your host, Rob, otherwise known as Phantom NJ, and it is another Thursday night. And, yeah, like I said, I wish royalties and licensing and everything wasn't such an issue, because I would, oh, man, the music I'd be playing on this channel, and I realize, I mean, I could play it and just not save my sessions, but I know that there are some people who can't make it and want to be able to listen to it afterwards. I think there's also a way I can do it where it doesn't save the music to the sessions, but it's just headaches. I don't want to deal with that headache. So, you know, we would just have the music going in our heads, and yes, turn the page, a little Bob Seger would be awesome. Awesome. I love that song. I do that song karaoke a lot. Well, not as much as I used to because I don't go to karaoke much anymore, but there's that. So yeah, I am back from Page. As you can tell, this conversation is probably going to be a lot about Page for as long as I can stand to talk about it. I did manage to avoid con crud, and it's a beautiful thing. I I think it helped that a couple of things. For one, Page is kind of spread out in that with the larger hall, even on the busiest day, which was easily the Saturday, there weren't a whole lot of people in a very confined space. So that definitely helped. I mean, the first couple of days it was, relatively speaking, it was quiet because I spent a lot of time in the turn the page must be about Iowa. Oh man. If I'm talking about Iowa, things have gone terribly wrong. So terribly wrong. I can't imagine why I'd be talking about Iowa unless there was a sudden corn shortage. That's a thought, Lord Forth. I mean, I could definitely put together a YouTube playlist. Um, but let's see. The I gotta figure out how to do that and just make sure. East of Omaha. Yeah, except Omaha is not in Iowa, Mayuso. Not unless I mean, there may be an Omaha in Iowa, but you're in the wrong part of the country, honestly. Well, actually, wait, no, hold on. Really? Okay, all right, maybe it's impossible. It's entirely possible that I did not realize where Omaha was in relation to Iowa. Okay, well, that explains why that song is such a it's a lonesome one note song. Oh man, I'm wandering into dangerous territory here, so I'm going to leave that there. Um, the yeah, no, like I said, the con itself is kind of spread out. The because it's the building itself. I mean, it's very high ceiling. Other than the entryway, getting into it. Once you get into the con itself, it's very high ceilings. I spent a lot of time in the Greyhawk area, which there was never more than like 2 to 3 tables going at the same time in that area. So that was not a problem. I also took it very easy. I only did 2 sessions per day. And on the third day, the Saturday, I only did the one session. I didn't spend a lot of time in the vendor hall. Actually, I barely spent any time in the vendor hall. I, I went and dropped a lot of money at Mike Saxton, otherwise known as Retro Gamer Meth, his Thunderstruck workshop stuff. So I bought a bunch of terrain pieces. I now have my own joust area if I wanted to set that up. 2 sessions per, 2 sessions per day would kill you in terms of that's too many or not nearly enough. Because I could take that either way. I did really, huh? I wasn't now understand something. I wasn't running any of those sessions. I did not. I did not run any sessions at Page. I was purely there as a player. Um, there are reasons for that I've gone into before, and I'm not going to rehash them again. It's over, and I'm happy to have gotten played the games that I did. Um, but yeah, two sessions a day. I mean, the problem with Page from a playing more than 2 sessions, honestly, is really just comfort level. Dragahir, I was a forever DM for 40 years, and once I got to playing, it is awesome being able to play playing other games. Um, I was one of those people who ended up being the forever DM because I was for a long time I was the only one of my friends who was a DM. I got to college and I had another friend who was a DM as well, but I ended up with like the main campaign in the frat house, and yeah, so was honestly wasn't in. I don't. Other than the very first game I played, which my cousin ran for me, I'm not entirely sure when, which was like circa 1980, 81. I got to college in 1990. I'm not entirely sure when the last game that I didn't DM prior to college was for me, in those 10 years. But, I was, for the most part, I was the forever DM by, not really with no choice because it was either me or nothing. But yeah, no, playing in other games is great. One, it's nice to have a break and it's be able to just enjoy the game and not have to worry about all the prep for it. Just have your character and go with it. And it's also really cool to play in other games. One, to get a little get a little inspiration here and there, see what they're doing that maybe might work for your game. And on the same side, one thing that playing in other people's games is I've also find out what doesn't work for me. There are things that I've realized over years that I'm just not a fan of in a game. And that's not to say that it keeps me from playing in somebody else's game. There are some DMs who honestly their game just isn't for me. I'm not a fan of the style, and it's not that they're bad game runners. It's just the things that they incorporate just are not the way I like to play the game. So, it happens. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Good to see you. Quadromo, it was great to play. Played multiple games with you. What was it, two of them? There was like six or seven people. I think if you included the people running the games, I think there were like 7 people that I was in more than one session with, which was kind of funny. Okay, yeah. Well, I thought you were in the Carlos. Yeah, that's right. You were definitely in the Carlos game with me and Jay. Yeah, no, that would have been it. Oh, sure, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, sometimes it's the style of the game. Sometimes it's just the way that the DM runs a game. It happens. There are people who I love playing alongside with, who I love having them in my game. I'm just the way that they run games is just not for me, and it's not again. I want to stress it's not because I think they're a bad GM. It's just it doesn't fit my play style. I'm Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I've run across a system that I can't enjoy as a player. I don't know that they've sometimes interpreting how they interpret certain rules can definitely be it. Um, I often when I run into problems, a lot of the times it will be on the side of rule interpretation or rule uncertain. Where I'm not entirely certain how things work anymore, especially for the heavier rule games where things can get tricky. FFG. What is FFG? And then sometimes, honestly, sometimes it's just the mood. I like I like Pathfinder 2E as a player. I have a lot of Pathfinder 2E content. I could not. I realize Pathfinder 2e is kind of funny to me because it is a game where, as a kid growing up, Pathfinder 2e and me would have been a love affair. Because all the options, all the particular combinations and permutations and combinations and such, and the math kid in me would have been a joy. I can't, as a GM, I couldn't run a Pathfinder 2e game. I've come to the conclusion that any game where I almost feel compelled to use digital tools just to basically run it well is not for me. And I don't know that I want to do, it's like it's a game that I'd have to learn a lot more in depth than I really have time for in order to be able to do it without it. I had my problem with 4E was slightly different. My problem with 4E, really honestly, the biggest problem I had with 4E was at will powers and the prevalence of them, and the fact that there was like no real standard attack. Every you had an at will power to use every single attack you made, at the very least. If there had been more, if they had changed it to more encounter powers and scaled that back a bit, and more daily and encounter powers, I would have been better off. But and it wasn't even that the at will powers were necessarily bad. It was once you got to certain levels, it dragged everything out because you ended up with players who were the paralysis by analysis because they had too many. There was too many options. See, but Chris, you know something? I consider 3.5 way too video gaming. So, it's relative. 3.5 to me feels more about power combinations and building a spec and character builds, almost as much as it is the game itself. And that, granted, Pathfinder 2e is kind of the same way, but the difference with Pathfinder 2e to me is Pathfinder 2e does it more for the flavor of it, where 3.5 you're building, you're 3.5 and even and Pathfinder 1, you're building it to make a really powerful character. You can build it for flavor, but 2e doesn't quite give you that option. Even if you try to min-max in 2e, you're not going to have the big power gaps that you can have if you build a character wrong, compared to if you build a character suboptimally in, D&D 3.5 or / Pathfinder 1. But yeah, going. All right. Good luck with that. I'm obviously you have to do that regularly. You're the poor kitty, but I feel compelled anytime they have to give something, make a cat take medicine, whether it be by shot or food or pill, whatever. I always feel compelled to wish good luck because, well, cats. Oh well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. That's good to hear. Oh man, I am obsessed with this TikTok account where the woman is feeding her cat, is feeding one of her cats ham and chicken breasts with a pair of tongs, and I've never heard a cat verbally nom the nom noms. Oh, hey, Fosco, how good to see you. Yeah, we are turning the page. Cue the Bob Seger, as somebody said. So yeah, going back to the original point, it's like with playing more than 2 games at Page, honestly, the biggest problem would have been comfort, because the chairs that they have there are not comfortable for normal people, and I am, I am not a regular sized person by any stretch of the imagination. Um, they felt like they were on the smaller side, so my knees were constantly barking. The number of times I've been suggested to run Hackmaster is considerable, especially in the CNC circles where talking about alternate systems. Never tried it or tried any of the Hackmaster editions, and honestly, I I don't need I I really don't need another system for that kind of game. Knights of the I didn't wait. Knights of the Dinner Table is there a TTRPG or do they use Hackmaster or something? I thought Knights of the Dinner Table was a I thought that was a comic. I could be wrong. I fed a cat buffalo wings. Oh, okay. It is a comic. Okay, all right. Oh, that's cool. But yeah, the chairs are just not. They're not comfortable. There were long periods of time where I was standing during a game because I couldn't stand to be. I couldn't bear to be seated anymore. Yeah, I had meant to do it this year, and time got away from me, and I forgot to get a good folding. I wanted to get a real, a good folding chair, one that would give me adequate support, and I just never got around to doing it because I drive there, so I might as well. But yeah, two games was two games was relatively easy. Um, even in and with the two games I had plenty of time in between them. Um, even the first day, the first game, the first the Thursday, I think my first game was at 1 p.m. And then even with that, I still had 2 hours between that and the evening game. And then on Friday, I had a morning game with Jay, and then I had like 5 hours until my afternoons, or actually might have been longer than that. It might have been like 6 hours before my evening game. But yeah, it was it was nice. It was got to play the parking there is always an interesting situation. The Thursday is easy. Friday is press your luck, and then Saturday is good luck. 'Cause, oh my god, uh, yeah, Fosco, I'm there with you. So nowadays when I go to GaryCon, it's easy. I've got my Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning game that I run, and then I leave everything open after that. I might schedule a game here and there if there's something that I really want to do. This coming year, I've got my 3 scheduled games. My 3 scheduled CNC games, I should say. I'm running one Tower Gygax session, which is what 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on how long I go. And then I plan on playing a bunch of Tower Gygax, and that's about it because I've done pretty much the rest of my bucket list stuff for GaryCon. There's nothing else that I really need to get into. Like I've played with some of the bigger name GMs. I got to play the one year, not last year, but the year before. I got to play in a Stefan Picorni game with the full-on huge terrain, we call Dragon Forge or terrain setup, which was really really cool. I've played in games with friends of mine. You say that, Chris, and yet I have played Dwarven Forge. Thank you. I knew it was a D. I knew I'd get there somewhere, and somebody would get it. Dwarven Forge. Yeah, all the Dwarven Forge stuff. I played, I think, in 4 Tower Gygax sessions so far. I have yet to die in any of them. One secret is I always play the same character. And my character is always the cleric. So, and I've warned people, it's like, listen, I'm not going to get myself killed trying to heal you. So don't be, don't be stupid. My character is very honest right at the top. Well, I don't save all, I honestly don't save all the heals for myself. It's just, my character is not going to be the heroic, try to do the heroic thing. And I want to survive. I want that stamp, damn it. I will play smart. And those of you who play smart with me, we might get through this. And I think 2 out of the 4 sessions, everybody survived. There was one session where half the party died, but then there was no saving those who died. There was just, it was something. I want to say that was the Errol Otis game. But yeah, I plan on playing a few Tyra Gygax sessions because that's where a lot of the Greyhawk community seems to hang out. In terms of until the after hours stuff gets started. So, and then I'll get together with people for after hours games or pickups games in the hallways later. We'll see how that goes. I'm not scheduling. Other than that, I'm really not planning on scheduling anything. I want to be able to enjoy the time with my friends and such. House size mimic. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. As far as Paige goes, let's see what else was there. The change to the hall and the way it was definitely much larger this year. They had where basically the room where that they originally had the vendor hall last year was now just more gaming area. And they moved the vendor hall, and it actually ended up being pretty good because that turned out the vendor hall was adjacent to the gaming area as opposed to on the far side of it. So for if I had gone crazy shopping and didn't have, I forgot to bring the basket for my hand cart with me, so. Thankfully, Mike's wife was kind enough to give me a hand getting the stuff to my car. Not as large. Actually, last year, it's funny. Last year, the vendor hall, actually, that's a good question, Prof. I'm not sure. Because it's the vendor hall at GaryCon is like pretty much a square. This was not, and there was basically kind of 2 rooms to it. So, and I never went into the second room because I didn't really have much of a reason to. I knew I wasn't buying much. I knew I was stopping to get some terrain from Mike Saxton in Thunderstruck Workshop, and that was really all I had planned. I took a brief look and realized that wasn't really in the mood to buy any dice. There was also that. So the vendor hall, the vendor hall was pretty substantial. I couldn't honestly tell you. It was at least comparable to GaryCon. I don't know if it was larger or smaller technically, but it was good. It was a good size. There was a lot there. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Honestly, the big thing was it was more accessible than one GaryCon without parking in, finding parking closer to the vendor hall. They just posted the layouts for next year on Facebook. Yeah, all the big names, pretty much all the big names were there. I don't know that there were any that weren't there. What did I buy from? Oh yeah, yeah. I bought some. I did get a few really cool pieces. I got a portal piece from Thunderstruck where I could put my cell phone in and do a swirling portal and basically slide my cell phone into the thing so that it looks really cool. Or there's just a painted piece that I could slide in as well and just leave it static looking if I wanted to. Um, and I got one. I don't remember if it was a multi-level. I don't remember if it was supposed to be a Hobbit house or not, but it's a really cool looking piece. And I also got a jousting stand along with the part that separates the two jousters, the basically the fence that goes along the middle. So, you know, if I wanted to do a joust type thing, I could, which is really cool. That's kind of wild that they already have that up for next year. Uh, I have no intention of going to Concoction. First of all, May is a busy time for me personally because of family stuff. But I don't intend on going to Concoction, even if it is in Southern Jersey. I mean, things could obviously change, but I doubt that's going to happen. Of course, what will end up happening is I'll find out that there's 60 people that I know that are going to Concoction. I'm going to want to go anyway and just say to hell with it. But we'll see how that goes. Um, it was fun getting to play in a bunch of different types of games. You know, so I got to play in a Shadow Dark game that was run by Kurt Kuvanetis from basically mostly on Dawn Creep Show's channel. They're pretty much Creep's in-house DM or GM as it were, which was fun. Got and played alongside Bert Bones and Creep, which is even more fun. Also got to play Cyberpunk with them, which was a hell of a lot of fun, and I plan on doing that again. We had a real good time. The Shadow Dark game, my character is the only one who did not survive, mostly because Creep's character mind controlled one of the baddies and had the baddie help kill the BBEG. Fosco, yeah, I got. Well, here's the thing. I can't. I'm trying. I had to remember which of the games I played with you, which of the games I played with Codroma, and which one if any of them I played with both of you. I'm not sure if you were here when I mentioned the fact that there was at least 7 different people who I played with more than one game, when you include the GMs. You, Quadroma, Bones, Creep, Jay, Kurt. I want to say there was at least one other person. Mostly because I think there was at least one more person who played in both of Jada's games that I was in. Well, that's cool. That's very cool. I played in 2 AD&D games. I played in 2 games that Jay ran. I also got to play in a Carlos game in person for the first time, and that was freaking awesome. Carlos, you know, I am very much an off the cuff. I'm very much an off the cuff, by the seat of my pants GM. You know, I know what I'm very good at being, playing on my feet, and just adjusting to whatever the players want to do and figuring out it as I go along and then just marking it down and coming up with what I need. If I was ever going to go the route of being a GM who was like ultra, ultra, ultra prepared, man, Carlos is the fucking gold standard. Oh my goodness. Because the adventure that we had, to give you an idea, was we were a low level party. We were only like level 4. We only had like level 4 characters, I think we all were. I And honestly, I thought the adventure that we were in was pretty much a suicide mission. It felt like a suicide mission, and that would have been fine. I did not think I didn't think we were necessarily going to get out alive. Maybe early on, I thought it might have been possible, but as things were going on, it just happened that we found a whole bunch of interesting stuff that allowed us to survive the adventure. And here's the thing. One might think Carlos was just going, rule of cool. Okay, that sounds great. You're looking for that. Let's put something there and make it good. No, everything, all the things that we found and all the things that we did, that we came up with just basically off the cuff and trying to figure stuff out. He had prepped. I mean, it was in the adventure. There was a time where we're inside and we're like trying to figure out, we need to make a diversion because otherwise we would have just gotten roasted because we were vastly outnumbered and we needed to find a way to, get everybody's attention. And we had a method of setting a whole lot of different things on fire, because we had one character who just happened to have I think they had a ring of flying or something that allowed them to fly. Might have been a potion. So we set a whole bunch of stuff on fire. And sure enough, and he had this in the adventure text, written, typed up, so it wasn't something like he wrote while we were doing it. One of the bad guys had a wand of fire extinguishing. I mean, there was a point where, to give you an idea of how well we did, my character found a dog. We used the dog, got very attached to the dog and brought the dog with us, and the dog did help my character survive. And amazingly enough, we managed to keep the dog from dying too, which was even more of a shock. But like all the stuff that we thought of and all the stuff we came up with, the answers that he gave us were all things that were documented in the adventure. It was a whole thing where, it was amazing. Like I said, if I was ever going to be the type of GM who wrote everything, got documented every single little detail, Carlos is easily the GM that I would, basically aspire to emulate, because his attention to detail when he writes these adventures is beyond anything I've seen before. Which, considering how many different games I've played and seen, just in the last 5 years or 6 years or so, that's saying something. It was amazing. It was a hell of a fun time. We had all kinds of fun with the big bads and with some role playing, and I had a gnome fighter with a gladiator bent. And this is Carlos. This is old school gnomes, which are more of the dwarven cousin, not the Tinker gnome / World of Warcraft style gnome that people become accustomed to. It was it was a lot of fun. Jay's games were both fun. One of them had a surprise also due to creep, but I'm not gonna talk about the surprise ending for that particular one, just because it may become something that it might get mentioned on a stream, possibly as soon as this weekend. We'll it's good. So I'm gonna leave that there. But both of the games were a lot of fun. Getting to play. I got to play with Eric Boyd in the first game that I played with Jay, and it was hysterical. Mostly because Eric was playing I want to say his character's name was something like Trudevan or something like that. Was a cleric of Hieronius, and Eric had a really bad time of things with that character in that game. Things were just not working between spell resistance and spells just not working as planned, or bad rolls, or whatever the case may be. I'm playing as my barbarian Gom, and I'm role playing it as such where we kind of tease he's playing his character as the the righteous cleric of Hieronius, and Gom's decision making where Hieronius was concerned when things first started going wrong. uh Gom thought Hieronius might be a instead of god of law, order, and righteousness, was a god of chaos, because it sure seemed that way. Then, as things continued to go bad, Gom became more convinced that Hieronius didn't exist. And then, when things kept going bad, he decided that no, Hieronius did exist. He just hated the cleric. It was a whole character arc in one game for Gom's feelings he's a frost barbarian. He just became Hieronius. Didn't just hated the cleric because nothing went right for him. But yeah, it was so that was a lot of fun. And then the second game was playing with Jay's game. The second game I played with Jay, which was the one that I managed to sneak into, because, well, not sneak into, but somebody dropped the game and I jumped on it as soon as I saw it. Was with Creep, Bones, and Eric Mota. So that was, and of course he's playing his he's playing his cleric of Raushaz. So it was a good time. It was definitely a good time. Both games were a lot of fun. And of course Jay always does a great job with this stuff, and getting to play on the table with the miniatures and so on and so forth. One adventure I wasn't entirely sure we were ever going to get out of the inn. It took us a while, but we finally did. Yeah, so it was it was a good time. I took it easy. I didn't drive myself into the ground with it. Like the Saturday, I ended up paying for it on the Saturday in terms of trying to find park, because I decided I didn't have my Saturday game with Creep and Bones and Kurt for Cyberpunk wasn't until 3 p.m. and I didn't plan on getting to the place until then, and I ended up having a park quite a distance away and walking, so I was a few minutes late for the Cyberpunk. I was a couple minutes late for the Cyberpunk game. But it beat being exhausted all day. After the Cyberpunk game, we went out to dinner. The lot of us, we went to a place for oh my goodness, why is it escaping? Everybody hold on for a moment. I am going to go to a break because I'm getting a phone call from my parents. I will be right back. All right, I am back. Sorry about that. Yeah, my mother was calling to find out about the if I was ready for the weather, and of course she called twice, which, considering some health problems, my parents are older. It's a little concerning that they call twice in quick succession, but thankfully, it's just trying to find out if I'm ready for the snowpocalypse. I love the fact that for my area, the weather forecast reads like a calculus equation. We could have anywhere from one to. Somebody joked about the fact that we're bracing for anywhere from 1 to 3,850 inches of snow. Because nobody can decide. Is it going to be 2 inches of snow? Is it going to be 2 feet of snow? No one knows. Gotta love it. A village of house-sized mimics or an adult red dragon? I am going with the village of house-sized mimics. Just, so I suppose the adult red dragon could just take to the, as long as the adult red dragon could take to the air, it could just burn all the mimics and keep burning all the mimics as long as it can stay ahead of them. But if they get the dragon on the ground, it's over. I don't even know what the temperatures here are scheduled for. Yeah, it's so weird. The weather is just so very weird. So they're calling for snow on Sunday here. 8 to 12 inches during the day, another 5 to 8 at night. So they're calling basically for between day and night, anywhere from a foot to just short of 2 feet. But that's Sunday, so who knows? What's really weird though is that it's saying all that snow and it's saying 11-degree temperatures, and normally it's not that cold when it snows. Especially when it's that heavy. I can't remember the last time we had snow, that kind of snow with temperatures that were so low. Because it's saying 11 degrees Fahrenheit here for Sunday. Saturday, 16 degrees. Yeah, it doesn't look like the snow here is supposed to hit until Sunday. So that's great. Oh, that's awesome. Love it. So nice and warm. Oh, man. Yeah, Draggy here. I think you're correct about the Dungeon magazine with the Village of Mimics. I vaguely remember that. I don't know what the what it's supposed to feel. I know that the overnight Saturday night overnight is supposed to be 4 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't say what what it's supposed to feel like. It just gives the regular temperature. We'll see what happens. We'll probably end up getting 2 inches of snow, and then it'll rain, and it'll just be a mess because every snow forecast we've gotten in the last 2 months has been wrong. So I'm not holding my breath on this one. Yeah. So like I said, Saturday we did. Oh my God. Why? We're not dinner on Saturday night. I will say that we are. Oh, dim sum. We did dim sum. Why wouldn't dim sum come to me? We did dim sum on Saturday night, and then spent some time hanging out at the hotel, having having some drinks. Mostly had some beers. Got to talk to a lot of people. Um, I got to see a whole lot of people. I didn't get there are still people that I really didn't get around to having a lot of time talking to, like Troy, Cannonball Troy. Uh, I didn't I didn't really get to talk to him at all until Saturday night. Mostly because every time I went past their area, he was busy. Ultra Magnus, George Hardy from the Trollord Games Discord, one of their moderators. I saw George a couple of times and spoke to him very, very briefly. Chuck, I spoke to briefly on he hung out with us for a little while on Saturday night, but didn't get to talk to Chuck much at all either. It was it was good though, because like I see Chuck quite a fair. I've seen Chuck in person a fair bit. Getting to hang out with Bones and Creep and Kurt was really cool, because I don't get that chance that often. Up until now, it's just been basically Gary Con, and even then, they're normally so busy. Gary Con, it's getting free, getting to spend some real time with them was very, very cool. But yeah, again, Saturday, I only had the one game on Saturday, and then Sunday, mostly because of the weather, and I didn't have anything scheduled, and I think I kind of just wanted to get out of Dodge in case the snow started up again and it got bad. I checked out of the hotel, at noon, which was my the checkout time, and I just basically drove straight home. I was home by 2 p.m., which maybe a few minutes after 2 p.m. My only complaint was Waze did not take me the route I wanted to go. It wasn't any longer. It's just the route it took me basically routed me through, southeastern Pennsylvania, and then, heading north in New Jersey, where it feels getting to New Jersey and realize that I'm still an hour and something away was kind of depressing. No games for you until the 28th. Yeah. Well, I've got a game tomorrow night, Friday Night Crusades in the Discord. And then I am playing in Jay's game on Saturday. Saturday, I believe it's 11 o'clock start, 11 a.m. Eastern start. And that's my last game for a couple of weeks, because I will be on vacation starting Thursday of next week. I will be away for 9 days or so. I'll be off for a bit. So this will be my last stream for 3 weeks. 3 weeks from now will be my next one. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, Savage, that'd be awesome. We are more than happy to have people come in and listen into the games. Anyone who's interested in hanging out and listening to the game, and if you decide you want to roll up a character, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to roll up a character while you're listening, just in case you get the urge to play at some point, you already have one ready, so you don't have to worry about having that next extra step. You're more than welcome to do that as well. It is all good. We need another rogue. Oh man, poor Doc gets so much stick. I kind of feel bad, but oh boy. Perfectly understandable. I hear you. But yeah, because of the fact that I really took it easy, because of the fact that the hall was really large and a big, a big space, and things were pretty spread out. Plus, they had the curtains blocking off the different sections. I was able to avoid con crud. I have no such delusions about avoiding that at Gary Con. I've tried. There's just so many people in a small area and low ceilings and such that Gary Con. I just accept the fact that I need to make sure that I get as much sleep as possible, that I do my vitamin C and zinc regimen for it, and drink all the water and do whatever I can. A lot of washing of hands and such, and hope that I can head off the worst of it at Gary Con. But it, I always come back feeling like a bit of a mess at Gary Con. My goal is for Gary Con. My goal is to get home before the con crud sets in. It doesn't always happen that way, but at least getting home. At the booth, yeah, oh, it's a thing. It's a thing for sure. But yeah, no, I mean Gary Con is coming up fast. We're literally 2 months away. Technically, we are shorter than 2 months away, I believe. Well, no. I mean, honestly, we are. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are 8 weeks. 8 weeks from today is the first official day of GaryCon. The yesterday would have been 8 weeks until the Wednesday where we can get our badges and everything. GaryCon will challenge. Draggy here. I can tell you right now, GaryCon will challenge your immune system. It will. The beauty of GaryCon is the fact that it is a more intimate setting in terms of spacing. The downside of GaryCon is that it's an intimate spacing, intimate venue in terms of spacing. So there's a lot of people in, and it's weird because you can move through the halls easily. It's not like you're having to fight through a crowd or anything, but it's just not the biggest space in the world. I mean, frankly, honestly, it doesn't help that the first thing that you do at GaryCon is you get on a line with a whole lot of people going down the length of a hallway to get your badge. I've wondered whether or not I really should be paying the money for a gold badge, considering I don't, I'm not really fighting for games anymore. And then I realized that having a silver badge means I had to get to stand on a longer line. And I'm like, that gold badge seems really, really good right about now. Yeah, no, I had, I got COVID the 1 year at GaryCon. Only time I've gotten COVID, and it was, I'm pretty sure it was from GaryCon. But Fosco, they keep trying. It's just there's a lot. I mean, the only way they could do it, frankly, is to have multiple lines for the for the various badge types. But because of the stuff that they're giving out with it, then it becomes a different logistical issue. Frankly, COVID for me, after having pneumonia the summer before, the pneumonia that I ended up in the hospital with, COVID wasn't even COVID. COVID was like nothing for me. I got my vaccinations. It was frankly a mild flu for me. I felt run down for a couple of days. But I took the Paxlovid and I was all right. The biggest thing COVID did to me was it exacerbated the issues that I was suffering with the aftermath of the pneumonia. it also helps that I've been returned to office. I mean, I've been working from home uh, since since lockdown. I have not worked. I worked in the office a couple of times, for having to go back for various events, but thankfully have not gotten it then. But yeah, I've been basically pretty much home the entire time. Easily the biggest crowds that I've seen have been at the conventions that I've gone to. But yeah, no, I mean Page was fun. There are things that they still need to work out, and I am still not happy about the whole paying for individual games at Page. There are issues. I don't want to go over it again. I had a good time, and talking about the issues just to me would just detract from the fact that I was able to enjoy playing games with a lot of people that I know and hanging out with people that I know and get usually only get to see online, get to see with them in person. So that's good. And we got another ad break starting soon. They're the fact that the gold badge really doesn't mean anything there is problematic. I also didn't get all the swag that I was supposed to get. I got my T-shirt, but I believe we're supposed to have gotten a miniature and a pin. Not that I really care all that much, but it's the little things. It's like, why do I need to ask somebody for this? Why do I even need to bring it up? This is what you got on your site. Do it right. Picking up the badge itself, it was easy though. That I can't complain about that. The only people who might have had any real issue are the people who came on Saturday, if that was the first time you were getting your badge. All right. I know it said the ad was coming soon, but it didn't say when. Because I'm trying to talk. Once the ad starts, I am going. Actually, is Jay? I forgot to check to see whether or not Jay was running tonight. I don't remember, but he's not on. Well, if Jay's not on by the time we get to, she's not running tonight. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, something. What we'll do, we're gonna end up raiding into Mike Disney. So I think. Well, let me see how long Mike's been on. Because every once in a while, I end up raiding into Jay, and then Mike raids like 5 minutes later. Oh, Mike's only been on for half an hour. Never mind. All right, we'll end up raiding it. We'll end up raiding into Mike. Oh yeah. And there's the ad that we were waiting for. All right. Once this ad ends, we will get back to it. We will go to stream ending. There we go. Okay. So once again, we do have and yes, I've been terrible about this. We do have a giveaway exclamation point ticket to enter. I saw a bunch of you enter, so but there's the chances are still really good. There's only a few entries into the giveaway, so please enter. And we're gonna be raiding into Mike. Actually, I'm gonna give Mike a shout out. I want to thank everybody for hanging out this week. Keith, thank you for the resubscription. Twitch Turbo ad for you. Oh man, that Twitch Turbo annoys me. It's like, why one more thing to try to screw over your streamers. So it's like, if you're going to do that, make it the ability for streamers not to have ads at all. What are you doing? Let's do this. We are going to go to stream ending. And going to close the giveaway. We're going to close the giveaway in 5 seconds. Exclamation point ticket. Closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Going to draw a winner. Keith, congratulations. I'll get that to you after the thing. Jeff, I do love. I mean, I love Guild Superior. I love David and the gang. I'm going to show Mike some love. I don't get to raid into him very often, so I'm going to stick with that for. Oh, well, there's the other part. All right, again, I will see you either in Discord for Friday Night Crusades tomorrow night or on JStream on Saturday. Otherwise, I will see you in a few weeks as I'm going on vacation. Thanks, everyone, and see you on the flip side.